Welcome to episode 114 of the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm Aaron Breitman, coming to you on Tuesday, July 18th. More Rutgers men's basketball recruiting news. Yesterday spoke at length about portal updates and the roster construction for the upcoming 2023-2024 season. Today, I want to focus more on future recruiting, the current cycle with 2024. Big news today reported, Asa Newell tweeted it, and Alex Karamanos also tweeted the news. But Asa Newell is a 5-star power forward, the top-rated power forward in the class of 2024. Number 10 ranked recruit overall by 24/7 composite rankings. Plays for Powerhouse Monteverde in Florida. Rutgers offered. Newell cited new assistant coach Marlon Williamson in his tweet in terms of who he is speaking to. But this is another sign that Rutgers just continues to pound the pavement with the elite prospects in the class of 24. We know about Ace Bailey. I wrote about him yesterday. He's had a huge month. But not just, he's all over social media because of his dunking ability, his highlight reel moves, but a lot of really positive feedback from coaches and recruiting analysts this month. Travis Branham from 24/7 Sports writing about Ace Bailey, about his development as a complete player, his passing ability. We know that he can defend. He's a rim defender, but he can defend multiple positions. He's committed on the defensive end already, which is a great sign for such a highly rated recruit. He plays unselfishly, looks for his teammates. The passing aspect of his game is a huge step forward, and he really is becoming a dominant, complete player. So he's been tearing it up. Lathan Somerville had a very good Peach Jam, led his team in scoring. It was at 12 points, 5 rebounds. I wrote about his performance last week. Bryce Dortch plays for Mass Rivals on the Adidas circuit. Really athletic, really unique wing, can get to the rim, defends really hard, has great length. I spoke about this, I can't remember when, but it was recently, just talking about the dynamics of the 24 class where Ace Bailey and their pursuit of Dylan Harper, the number 1 recruit in the class, Ace Bailey number 2, if they're able to get Harper, to get the 1 and 2 top 2 recruits would be a dream, but also realistically looking at the potential for 24-25 that season, those guys are projected as one and done guys. You never know. Obviously, it would be a good thing if they were one and done because they would have great seasons at Rutgers. But the 24 class, what I love about it is not just obviously that you potentially are going to grab the top 2 players in the class, but I really like Somerville and Dortch in the long term. They're going to be program staples for the future. They're guys that need to develop and be really good players and multi-year starters for Rutgers to continue that climb. The 25 class, Rutgers is all over in terms of top recruits. Darius Adams, I've mentioned a lot. Top recruit in New Jersey is moving to Indianapolis for Lumiere Academy. He's a top target. You have Darius Acuff, who's just blowing up everywhere, but you have Marlon Williamson, again, has that connection, plays for his old AAU program. Malik Thomas, the top shooting guard in the class. They're recruiting, offered him pretty early on. They have done a really good job of continuing momentum in terms of 24, right? What they have committed so far, and then bringing in or close to signing Somerville and Dortch, which are program 2 4-star guys that you can continue success and build a program around in the future. And then 25, Thomas is a 5-star, Acuff's a 5-star. Nigel James is a really intriguing. He's already visited. He's from New England prep circuit. He's a high 3-star. Tyler Jackson's a 4-star they've offered out of Baltimore. These are all guards. Darius Adams, I just mentioned, high 4-star, top 25 recruit. You know, and then they have offers out to 3 other 4-stars: Afosa Alago, Canadian, Nico Bundalo from Ohio, 4-star power forward, and then Aswin Earthenwunsi out of Putnam, which they know really well in the New England prep circuit. So they are going after it in 24 and 25. It's going to be really important to capitalize on the momentum of the 24 class with a really, 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 really good 25 class too. And they're off to a good start in terms of who they're in the mix with, some relationships they have. They've been recruiting Darius Adams for a long time. Obviously, his sister Destiny plays for the women's team now. But just getting back to this development today, I find it fascinating because going after Asa Newell, first of all, he plays for Monteverde. They haven't had a lot of success there. Kevin Boyle, former high school coach in New Jersey, kind of a legend. St. Patrick's now at Monteverde for years, made them a national power. Asa Newell, top 10 guy, 6'9", power forward, explosive. Everyone's recruiting him. So it's very interesting to see Rutgers get in the game. Not that it's late in the cycle, but for them, it's kind of late. They don't typically get involved with such high-profile players this far into the 24 cycle. So it's fascinating, and if they somehow gain traction here, got them on campus. I mean, listen, when you potentially land the top 2 recruits in the class, you're going to get other top 10 guys to listen at a minimum. And I just love the aggressiveness. I love the strategy in terms of how they're going after kids in 24 and 25. It's really fun to see. And this is the latest example. And I love that Marlon Williamson is the lead recruiter here, obviously showing value as a recruiter. That was a big need, and I think that he is stepping in. Obviously, Brandon Knight and TJ Thompson have done a remarkable job on the recruiting trail for Rutgers. If you can have Williamson, kind of be able to deliver similar results, I mean, that's what you need as a program to take the next step, right? If you can elevate the talent level long term now, what we don't want to happen is if they do land Harper and it's Harper and Bailey, they're here 1 year, and then you can't fully capitalize on the recruiting trail in the future. If you land the top 2 players in the 24 class, not only do you want to have results on the court, obviously, that next season, but you want that impact to make a lasting difference. So obviously you want them to have good experiences. You want Rutgers to win with them. You want them to develop. You want them to become lottery picks in the NBA draft. There is serious momentum. And I know people are concerned about next season. I know people are concerned about the roster. I know there's some rumors out there. I'm not concerned. There's stability. There's intriguing transfer portal options we talked about yesterday, both Williams, Austin Williams, Jeremiah Williams. I like the core of what's returning. I like the front court, obviously, of Cliff. We'll see how Mag recovers. Hyatt, very valuable piece. I think he's going to play a really key role. Gavin Griffiths, obviously. And then Noah Fernandez gives them an element of offense they haven't had. Derek Simpson's development. Jermichael Davis, we'll see how quickly he develops, but all reports have been really good. It's an intriguing team, and it's going to be. They're not going to be a consensus pick for the NCAA tournament, but they're going to be a dog in the fight. And John Rothstein has them 7th right now in the power rankings. If they add Austin Williams, that's a legit add. That makes them better. And I think they can make the NCAA tournament for sure. A lot of things have to happen. Need to rebound from last year. New core, new nucleus. Less standing in terms of more minutes up for grabs. I love that competition aspect of it. But you need to have a good season. You need to land this 24 class, built to make an immediate impact in the 24-25 class. Also bringing in guys that can be long-term program elevators in terms of keeping Rutgers as a top-tier program. And then if you back end it with 25 class, if they somehow put together another top 10 class in 25, that would be ridiculous. But going back to Newell, if you can land Harper and you have Ace Bailey, and Ace Bailey probably, he could play a lot of positions. They're probably looking at him on the wing as a 3. But can play multiple positions. Somerville is probably going to be the 5. Could play stretch 4. His physicality, his ability to develop physically is going to be key in terms of how much he makes an impact this first season, but he's really skilled. You're just going to have a lot of depth and a lot of versatility. So, no, I don't think pursuing Newell is a, for show. I think that they have a vision for how he can fit into the roster, and it would be wild. There's obviously a long way to go. There's a lot of schools, like I said, obviously involved for him. Talking about Indiana, Alabama, and Arkansas. When Alabama and Arkansas are involved, it is an uphill battle. So I'm not trying to sell a pipe dream here, but what I'm saying is you are seeing doors open. You are seeing interest rise. What Rutgers is doing right now with the 24 class with Bailey and Harper, and again, Harper hasn't committed yet. We don't know. But just the fact that, like I wrote about on Friday, and I did a video on Matt Norlander's national podcast with Adam Finkelstein, national recruiting director for 24/7 Sports. They talked about the 24 recruiting class, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, for 6 minutes on a national podcast. That changes perception. Everyone's talking about Dylan Harper, the Peach Jam, and everyone's talking about Rutgers, and the entire Rutgers staff is on the sideline. That changes perception. So to now get in the mix late with a top 10 recruit in that same class who fits on paper, as a power forward, different skill set than Bailey, different skill set than Harper. It's very intriguing. It's very exciting. And it just shows that, again, this coaching staff, they know what they're doing. And this offseason has certainly been a learning experience with the transfer portal and NIL and the way it's impacted, the way it's, Cam Spencer and Paul Mulcahy leaving, a couple, close calls in terms of I've heard that, every player's been tampered with this offseason. So, losing those 2 guys in the portal was obviously a big blow. But I definitely believe it could have been worse. I talked about Cliff Amore getting, talked to when he was at the combine. The elite G League elite camp. So there's a lot behind the scenes that never even came to fruition. But all along, Peichel and the staff keeping the roster together as best they can and building for the future and building, at a really high level. And the news today that they offered Asa Newell is really exciting news. And again, it's going to be an uphill battle. Aside from Arkansas and Alabama and Indiana, it does have Georgia. He is from Florida. Georgia, Florida, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Illinois, Kansas, Michigan, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Texas, Wake Forest. Duke is yet to offer. Rutgers offered today. So big news there. Exciting stuff. I know people are nervous about next season. I'm really optimistic and excited for it. This trip overseas coming up in a couple weeks or 3 weeks is going to be huge for the development of the program. And I'll have plenty more here at the Scarlet Faithful. Thank you for listening and watching. Once again, check out all my content at thescarletfaithful.com. And I will talk to you tomorrow.